Hey there, today I'm going to explore two ideas. First, I'm going to look at the 4 threats we have had released from December to May, from Logan the Wolverine to Squirrel Girl, and compare them to the other 4 threats we have had over the last 3 years to see just how much power creep MCP is seeing in the 4 threat category that many seem convinced is happening. Secondly, I want to explore the idea that AMG has found the ideal balancing point of what a 4 threat character should look like. My name is Nate, and welcome to the Gamers Guild. So, you may not have realized it, but we have had at least one 4 threat released every month since December. We have 2 more coming next month with Squirrel Girl and Gwenpool, and who knows, maybe AMG will keep the streak going for longer. But in these 6 months, we have seen 11 4 threat characters, and all of them are able to hold their own really well and are seeing various levels of play. Some, like Rhino, are seeing a lot of play in part because of his really strong tactic card. Logan and Apex Sabretooth both see plenty of love under the banners of X-Men and Brotherhood respectively, and I am happy to see Agent Venom not just being played when I put him on the board. This list could go on, but the point is, all of these recent 4 threats are hitting tables and making a consistent impact. The same, unfortunately, cannot be said about several of the older 4 threat characters that haven't aged as well. The first Daredevil, Cyclops, Mr. Signature, Ultron, and others don't see the table that often currently. Now, don't get me wrong, I have recently been beamed into the void by Cyclops, but I have also witnessed him not able to do much at all. So I'm not saying these characters are unplayable, just that there are often similar choices at the 4 threat level, even within the same affiliation that often hampers them from being played. So, if you start comparing Daredevil to Spider-Woman or Psylocke, then yeah, I could see how or why a lot of people are seeing power creep in the 4 threat spot of the game. Now, let's look at some other releases, even from within that first year of the game's launch. You have characters like Black Panther, Venom, Loki, and Corvus. And sure, you can say that Loki and Corvus are better when they're a 5 threat with a gem, and I wouldn't disagree with you, but they are also still 4 threats that can count blanks on their attacks, and that's really good. Now, you start comparing someone like Black Panther to Psylocke, Corvus to Logan, or Loki to Squirrel Girl, and it doesn't really look like power creep anymore. The power levels have kind of been like this graph. You'll have some characters that are at the top end of what a 4 threat could be, like Black Panther here at the top, then Killmonger maybe a little bit more down, then we drop below that line with maybe Hela, and then we pop back up a bit with Loki and so on. So I don't think what we are seeing with this stretch of strong 4 threat characters is power creep. None of these guys hold up to the pre-nerf trinity of Black Panther, Enchantress, and Medusa. There's just going to be strength variance when you have a single-digit point system. Now, I mean, is AMG capable of power creep / design creep? Absolutely. If you haven't heard the designation of design creep, you'll find me and Will talking about it on his podcast, linked down below, where basically the idea is that oftentimes designers aren't making more powerful models for the sake of it, but rather there are times where they get new ideas that hadn't even been thought of that open up new levels of gameplay that can leave old characters feeling a bit outdated. Dr. Voodoo and Squirrel Girl are, to me at least, some of the more obvious examples with their brother Daniel and Tippy Toe tokens. Now sure, Voodoo is also too strong because that design space was new, and he was made probably just a bit too good. But assuming he gets the same new wording that Tippy Toe has with Doreen, then Voodoo is pretty in line with what to expect out of a 4 threat character. All of this to say, I think AMG have been really conscious of power creep in their design because models from the first year of the game are still not only relevant, but some of my favorite characters to play and are having huge impacts on the board. Now, there's always a new shiny factor where we see new character cards that we don't have any good or bad experience with, and it's easy to look at them and think they are above the curve. I mean, what if I said there was a new 4 threat who had 6/6 split on stamina, defenses look like a 5/5/4, His main attack is a range 4, strength 5 energy beam gainer, can be immune to collisions through a superpower, and even has a freaking 2 power throw that tosses size 3 terrain and characters medium. That all sounds really good and doesn't even talk about a strong spender or other superpowers that character might have. But at the same time, I'm just talking about Vision, a character we have had since the 4th month of the game being out. Which brings me to my second idea. The idea that this stretch of 4 threats released over the past 6 months are the ideal of what a 4 threat should be. Sure, a couple are a little bit stronger and some are a little bit weaker, and maybe Agent Venom should have had some defensive tech like stealth, cough cough, but at the end of the day, all of these 4 threats can and will continue to see play in their affiliated homes. None of them are being splashed left and right because they are too good, and if they are being splashed around, it's either because of a love for the character or a very specific job and role that they fill. For me, let's just say the number of games I've played without Flash since his release can be counted on one hand. I think AMG have nailed the science behind the 4 threat characters and what they should have, how far they can stretch a character, and how much is too much. While unfortunately there isn't really any hard evidence since some of the tracking from events has not been as consistent and there hasn't been a regular TTS season with all of these new 4 threat releases, but from the articles we do have tracking the York Weekender and LVO, and from what I generally saw at Adepticon, all of these solid 4 threats are seeing play. They're mostly seeing play in places they're affiliated, and they aren't pushing out old 4 threats that were seeing play beforehand. Spider-Woman didn't push Captain Marvel out of A-Force, Beta Ray Bill didn't push out Ronin from Guardians, and Emma Frost didn't push out Cyclops. Now, that does mean not all 4 threats are created equal, and they probably never will be. But I am really excited for AMG to do another character update pass with the knowledge that they have gained over the past 4 or 5 years in development and designing characters to see what they could do to bring an already well-balanced system into an even tighter ecosystem where characters become more and more personal preference no matter what level of table you are playing at. But those are my thoughts on these 2 ideas. Let me know down in the comments if you think this string of 4 threats have all been really well balanced, or are they just examples of power creep, and why? If you do it, you will be entered into the monthly giveaway sponsored by Tritex. All you need to do to enter is be subscribed to the channel and leave a comment on a video that was released that same month. The more videos you comment on, the more chances you have at winning. If you are shopping for your mini stuff online, consider using the Guild sponsors to support an LGS that hosts game nights and a place to play for their local players. If you shop at Tritex online, you can use the code TritexGGCP5 at checkout for an extra 5% off, and if you use that on a pre-order item like Squirrel Girl and Gwenpool, or any of the Star Wars Shatterpoint stuff, it'll save you 25% off of MRSP when it's all said and done. If you're in the US, head to GameChefs.org and use the code GamersGuild, no spaces, to save an extra 15% off of their already discounted prices, which comes out to a really good bargain on your end. So much so that I'm not sure I'm allowed to advertise that final actual discount. However, I will continue to say if you're shopping at your own LGS, just keep supporting them. We all understand and appreciate that. And with that note, I do also want to say thanks to the members of the Guild Hall who are supporting the channel and the podcasts, there's 2 of them now, with your contributions. And I don't think it's a far stretch to say that we would not have been able to continue growing into all of these different avenues without that support. So thank you guys. And also to those still watching, thanks for watching. And until next time, keep on gaming.